What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be discussing some more Detroit Lions, of course. And today we're going to be looking at what the coordinators had to say to the media recently. Darrell Bevell, Braden Coombs, and also Corey Undlin. We're going to be looking at the Lions injury report and the rest of the numbers that the Lions have given out. So let's get it started.
You know, I got to shout out DoseOfDion, man, because it was actually the first time I went live on YouTube. And, you know, guys don't know DoseOfDion. He put out a lot of good content for the Detroit Lions.
Welcome everybody to another video. Glad you guys are here, and you guys should be excited just like I am, as we are only one day. We're only a single day away from NFL kicking off, okay? Now, this is Bears week for the Detroit Lions, so we have to focus on the Bears. So we're going to look at some of the injuries. The injury reports will start to come out soon. Now that we're into the season, we're ready for the season. So injury reports will start to come out, but I do have a little bit of information from today's practice, so I'm going to give you guys that now. We're also going to be looking at what the coordinators had to say about their team heading into week one, and finally, some of the numbers. We're first going to start off with the injuries from today. We're going to start off with the little injury report, and let me just say, for the most part, it's pretty darn good. We don't have any major injuries. Now, keep in mind, some players have already been placed on IR. You got Bo Scarborough on IR. You have Michael Ford on IR. So those players aren't brought up, but they are on injury reserve for at least 3 weeks. Also, C.J. Moore and Hunter Bryant are still dealing with some injuries. C.J. Moore really didn't practice much today at all. I'm assuming it was an injury. Hunter Bryant as well continues to not be very useful in practice, not very effective. He was very limited. Both those guys really didn't practice at all today. They were kind of just jogging around. Hunter Bryant, I really don't see him playing this week. I just don't see. I don't think Hunter Bryant goes on the field. I think we could see Isaac Nauta come up to the active roster for week one. I just don't see Hunter Bryant being out there. And for C.J. Moore, hopefully he's out there. I mean, when you see how highly our special teams coordinator thought of him, hopefully he can be on the field, because obviously that will help, especially without Jaron Kearse for some safety depth. But, you know, we'll see how he's doing. But aside from that, the Lions are pretty darn healthy. Aside from IR and those two little hiccups, the Lions are pretty healthy. All the running backs were on the field, and Matt Patricia said everybody else should be out there. Of course, unless you're on IR or like Austin Bryant on the PUP list, everybody else is good to go, and all the running backs were good to go aside from Bo Scarborough. So you see DeAndre Swift going at it, Kerryon Johnson, Adrian Peterson. He's trying to pick up this offense pretty quickly, but honestly shouldn't take too long. He's been in offenses similar to this. He's worked with Darrell Bevell before, so it's good. It looks pretty good for the most part when it comes to today's injuries. Now let's move on to what the coordinators had to say. Now, I believe this actually took place yesterday, media presser, but I thought we would talk about it a little bit today. Just some of my major takeaways from what they had to say. We're going to start off with their offensive coordinator. We're going to start off with the man himself, Darrell Bevell, the legend of Darrell Bevell, who, first off, we have to touch on what he said about Adrian Peterson. Of course, I mean, this is his guy. I mean, he was there when they drafted him. When Minnesota drafted him, he was there. So we have to look at what he said about AP. And he said he's a freak of nature. Now, keep in mind, guys, Adrian Peterson is 35 years old. If that dude is a freak of nature, imagine what this guy was when he was 24 years old, okay? Well, when he was healthy. We know he went down with that big injury, then he came back, and he had like over 2,000 yards rushing. The guy was a monster, okay? Let me just say that. Adrian Peterson was an absolute monster. Some people say he was the best running back, really, of this decade, which, honestly, I think you have a pretty good, strong case there. I mean, look, Adrian Peterson has been an absolute beast in the NFL. And yes, I know he is 35 years old, but like Darrell Bevell says, this guy almost had 900 yards rushing last season. Almost 900 yards on 4.3 yards per carry. And in 2018, he had 1,000 yards rushing. So I think he's all right. I think Adrian Peterson might be able to bring something to the table. Staying with the running back group, he discussed Kerryon Johnson. Now, there is like depth charts that are put out, but I believe the depth charts are done by the media, not necessarily the team, at least not yet. So the depth chart says that Kerryon Johnson is the #1 running back for the Detroit Lions. And when Darrell Bevell was asked about that, he basically said that there's going to be plenty of carries to go around. So everybody's going to get involved. It's a running back group by committee. We understand that. But Kerryon Johnson, I think, is kind of the lead dog as of now. I think Kerryon Johnson is going to explode. And hopefully, when you get all these other guys getting touches as well, he's able to stay healthy and hopefully doesn't miss crazy amount of time like he has the past 2 seasons. I mean, it's one thing to miss a game here and there. It's another thing to miss half the season. I mean, that just really, really hurts. And you can see this offseason, Lions have made a mission to add some depth there. Recently with Adrian Peterson, Jonathan Williams, who has been projected on the practice squad. So the Lions have the depth if they need it. Also, Matthew Stafford, he said Matthew Stafford has been better this year than last year with this year's offense. That doesn't make a lot of sense. But you know what I mean. Hey, let me just say, Matthew Stafford's better this year than last year. I'm sorry, Chicago. That's all I can say, man. Y'all are all about defense, but if Stafford is playing better this year than last year, I really don't know what y'all are going to do. Okay, guys, so I'm hopping back in here because I forgot a point on my notes, so I have to go back and read that point off. But I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but as you can see, the picture is now up. I recorded the whole video with the picture falling over. Are you serious? Like, I didn't even notice that. I feel so bad. So now it's awkward because once the scene's over, it's going to be back laying down. Like, what happened? Well, I put this in late, so I'm sorry. You can see it for now. It just looks weird. I don't know how I didn't notice that. I just didn't notice that when I started recording. But anyways, let's talk about these points that I forgot. The first one is about offense, Darrell Bevell. And Darrell Bevell said his biggest concern heading into week 1 is that pass rush for the Chicago Bears. And let me just say, that's kind of an obvious one, right? You got Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn, Hakeem Hicks back. Yes, that should be your biggest concern. And we talked about in the Lions game plan video on how to beat the Bears, on what the Lions can do to go against that. They have some nice playmakers in the back end, but how the Lions can really beat that Bears defense. But on paper, that's definitely the biggest concern. I mean, that's where a lot of their money is. That's where a lot of their capital is. So, of course, that should be your biggest concern, right? If some team puts that much money into 2 pass rushers, really all their pass rushers like that, yeah, that's probably going to be your biggest concern. So, I mean, for the Detroit Lions offense, so we talked about how they can beat it. Obviously, you know, running the football can definitely take those guys out of the game. Screens, short passes, things like that can really make the pass rushers have to respect that. They can't just be coming, you know, full head of steam to the quarterback, especially if DeAndre Swift can go out there and make some of those. Adrian Peterson runs screens. Kerryon Johnson can do it. I mean, he bobbles them all the way to the end zone, but he can do it. So there's definitely ways to go against that. And then for Corey Unlin's side, heading into week 1 defensively, he says that he's going to have his hands full with this Bears offense. Now, Corey, I really do appreciate you not underestimating this offense. Okay, I do appreciate that because we can't underestimate them. They will score points. But come on, man. I'm just playing. I get it. I get why he's saying that. I mean, yes, they do have a few weapons. I would say Cohen out of the backfield. Heck, staying at that point, Tariq Cohen said the media really over-exaggerated the injury for David Montgomery, which kind of makes me sad because I would have drafted him in my fantasy rounds, but I didn't because I thought he was really hurt. He said he over-exaggerated. He looks good on the field. So, heck, I don't know. How soon is he going to be back? I'm not sure. I don't know if he's going to play week 1, but he could be back much sooner than maybe he was anticipated of the 2 to 4 weeks. So, we'll see. I guess if it's not week 1, it's week 2, then that's not much sooner. I really don't know. That's just what Tariq Cohen had to say. I mean, they have a couple of weapons. You know, they have Tariq Cohen out of the backfield. Now they have Cole Kmet. They have 50 tight ends, so I guess one of those have to make a play. And then you have Allen Robinson. So that's something. You got Mitchell Trubisky who can use his legs. There's a few little weapons there. Nothing that's like, whoa, watch out. It's not like the Chiefs offense, but there's a few little things there that could definitely, you know, keep you on your toes as a defensive coordinator. But this won't be the most talent that we face this season. But I think it's a really good warm-up for Corey Unlin. Like, he's not jumping into this against the Saints. He's going against the Bears, who have some talent, who have a couple of pieces you have to watch out for. But, you know, you're not hopping in playing the Chiefs, so that's definitely good. So there you go, man. Those are some of my takeaways. I'm definitely going to go through some more. I just have to cut back out here, and unfortunately, the next time you see me, this will be like this. So let's just do it now. Let's just get prepared for what's about to happen. I'm sorry. All right, enjoy the rest of the video. I'll see y'all later. Hot dog. Corey Unlin, Jeffrey Okudah, obviously this is kind of like the biggest story defensively. He said he is ready to go and he will play a role on this defense. Now, we don't know if he's going to be one of the top 2 cornerbacks out there. We don't know if he's going to be the number 1 cornerback week 1. Not many people believe he will. I think Amani and Okudah, those guys will rotate. Amani will get a lot of time, so will Trufant. We're going to probably rotate a lot throughout the entire season just because we have the ability to do that, especially if everybody is healthy. We just have the talent back there. So I think it'll go by matchups, you know, things like that. You know, Corey Unlin's talked about it before. Depending on who you're going against, what kind of defensive strategy you're employing into that game. So we can move around these cornerbacks and things. And I think, yes, he will have a role in week 1. Maybe not as big as a role if he'll have in week 12. Maybe week 12 we're saying, all right, he's got a way bigger role than he did in the first week of the season. And that wouldn't shock me. I mean, he hasn't had the best training camp. Jeffrey Okudah kind of talked on that, saying that the media would create something. But he hasn't had the best training camp. However, I guess, you know, he's had a really short offseason. So for him as a rookie to step in there and, you know, have a really weird offseason like this and kind of be up to date with everything is kind of crazy to ask. But he will have a role in this defense. So for everybody out there saying it was a bad pick, trust me, it wasn't a bad pick, okay? This was a good pick for the Detroit Lions. It's a little bit different for Corey Unlin. He's no longer focused on, hey, let's get the secondary right. Sure, he wants to make the secondary as good to go, but he's got to focus on the rest of the defense now. He is now a defensive coordinator, and he said his focus this week has been setting up the call sheet for the defense, hoping that he can help them win in week 1. So, setting up a call sheet, I'm sure that's a lot different than what he's used to, but I'm excited to see what Corey Unlin can do out there, taking a lot of responsibility, calling plays. It's going to be really cool to see that for Corey Unlin. And finally, Braden Coombs, right? He is our special teams coordinator, and he said their strategy is going to be very aggressive in coverage against guys like Cordell Patterson this week against the Chicago Bears. So there is some speed back there. I mean, Patterson is a little bit of a threat, so they're going to be very aggressive on special teams. I guess, you know, we've heard that they're doing things a little bit differently than before with Braden Coombs. He's a very hands-on special teams coordinator. He's down there with the guys, trying to get everybody excited to the race between Stephen Wortell and Dom Muhlbach, because Stephen Wortell's still on the practice squad. He said that, hey, Wortell put up a very good fight. I just didn't feel super confident having 2 young guys out there between Jack Fox and Steven Mortel, so I wanted to keep Don Muehlbach, and I think that does make sense. I mean, either way, Aaron Sipas is a little bit older, but Aaron Sipas really hasn't played in the NFL. So either way, you got two very inexperienced, I would say, punters, and if you have that with a long snapper that kind of just took over the role, there could be some mistakes there. I mean, sure, Muehlbach maybe isn't perfect, but he's Don Muehlbach, right? He's been there before. I'm sure that'll definitely help out the punter. So Steve Mortel is still here on the practice squad, though. They saw enough good out of him. He is still here on the practice squad, and he could potentially be the future. Now, moving on to the numbers that the Detroit Lions have given out. This is always an exciting part for fans. Starting off with Adrian Peterson, he was given the number 28. Of course, he was given the number 28. I mean, you had to give him 28, right? That's AP. He's 28. There's no way around it. So I love that he got the number 28. Jeffrey Okudah gets 30. Some people don't like it. I personally love it. Darius Slay was 30 when he first came here. He changed it to 23 later on. But I think 30 is a really cool number. I think a lot of it is because Darius Slay was number 30. Hopefully it doesn't end on the same terms that Darius Slay did. But hey, I like it. Number 30 is cool. DeAndre Swift is given number 32. There's been some really good 32s. I mean, Jim Brown was 32. Marcus Allen was 32. There's been some really good number 32s historically. I mean, Swift isn't really built like Jim Brown, but, you know, hey, maybe he can have a big impact on the field. It really doesn't matter. D. Virgin given a number 36. Jonathan Williams, the running back on the practice squad, given 41. Jaron Kearse giving 42, okay? At first it was 32, now it's 42. So he's not Tavon Wilson's old number, but now he's Ronnie Lott's old number. So I see you, Jaron. I think that's a perfect fit for what he does on the field, what he's going to bring to the table. That size, his ability to play safety, corner, slot corner, wherever you want to put him on the field, linebacker. I think that's a perfect number for Jaron Kearse. Jalen Elliott was given the number 46. He was one of the UDFAs to get onto the practice squad. Steve Mortel is 54. Jonathan Wynn is 69. And Julian Okwara, baby, the rookie, the third-round pick, is number 99. I like that. 99 is cool. 99 is cool for a pass rusher. Now, I feel like he's a little bit smaller, but it's a really cool number. And you got J.J. Watt was number 99. Warren Sapp was number 99. Not as big as those guys, but he's a pass rusher. I feel like 99 is cool. And then you get like one of those face masks with all the little bars on it. You can't even see their face. They get, you know, blacked out. Oh, man, it's like... It's scary looking. It's scary looking. So, yeah, those are your numbers. I'm sorry, I kind of went off there. But there you go, man. That is your Lions news, I guess, for today's video. We'll probably be back with another video soon. Of course, I'm going to have T over. We're going to do some against the spread predictions for week 1. And we'll probably do that by week, depending on how the support is. So, let me know your thoughts, comments below. Thank you for watching. And I'm out. Look at all these cool people. Look at all these cool Hall of Fame, All-Pro, and patrons. You guys are so awesome. Look how interesting. That's an interesting name. I've never seen one like that. I'm not saying that one out loud. We got some cool stuff here, man. I appreciate all of you guys. You guys are awesome. You guys want to be part of this? Click the join button. I appreciate you guys. Look, man, you guys are cool, man. I see you. Oh, I see you're not sneak. I see you down there, my boy.